Hi, beautiful people. How are ya? I'm Dr. Pammy Jean. I hope you're having a great day. We're all doing pretty well here. My husband had to take his car in, though, to get some car repairs done on it, and it was going to cost a bundle. So we traded it in on a brand new car, his very first brand new car. He loves it. I think we're probably going to take some vacations now, maybe in the next year or two, not anything right away. We got our Christmas tree up in that room in front of the front window. Did a little decorating over here. Got to get in the Christmas spirit. And with our granddaughter living with us, it's absolutely crucial to decorate for Christmas. I think Shadow is acclimated to her new surroundings here. I think she really loves it. We love her. She's still very shy, barks at strangers, growls at them even. And so for Thanksgiving, when all our family is here, there'll be people she's never met and a large crowd. So I think she's going to get freaked out a bit. So we'll be keeping her in the back room with just a doggy gate so she can still see everybody, but not get near them. I think it's just going to take some time to get her truly socialized, unless, we pay somebody to do it, and I don't think that's going to happen. I've had to put the scanning of our pictures that I've taken that I talked about in, I think, the last video, thousands of pictures. This is how many pictures I have scanned. The Myers bag. That's a lot of pictures. So, in order to get my house tidied up and my desk tidied up and all of that, we had to put all of those pictures that need scanned back into our storage room, and I'll pick it back up after Thanksgiving. Got a lot of cleaning to do around here. This is doggy fur central, if you know what I mean. So we've got some work ahead of us. So back to our topic about the root causes of fibromyalgia. The ones that I'm talking about in this series are abnormal pain processing, dorsal root ganglia, neuronal hyperexcitability, oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, inflammation, neuroinflammation, and neurogenic inflammation, autonomic dysfunction, small fiber neuropathy, and stressful life events. Today's topic is on inflammation, neuroinflammation, and neurogenic inflammation. This is episode 6 of the Root Causes of Fibromyalgia series. Here we go. Inflammation in fibromyalgia is a big, big topic. We've known for many years that fibro has an inflammatory aspect to it, just not in the conventional way. How inflammatory it is still under debate, unfortunately. But to understand the topic of inflammation, researchers study cytokines, chemokines, viruses, and bacteria. Cytokines are molecules released by cells that are a part of the immune system, and non-neuronal cells, such as epithelial cells on the skin. The widespread pain insensitivity seen in patients with fibromyalgia could be due to an imbalance between pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cytokines, which could provoke the induction and maintenance of pain. In 2019, researchers stated that inflammatory cytokines and mast cells are involved in the pathogenesis of fibromyalgia. Neurotransmission and glial activation can occur with an increase in inflammatory cytokines and involvement of mast cells in the skin. Skin biopsies show an increase in the number of mast cells in fibromyalgia patients. Corticotropin releases hormones and substance P by neurons and activates mast cells. Then, mast cells release neurosensitizing pro-inflammatory substances such as cytokines, which can exacerbate low-grade inflammation. In fibromyalgia, it can't seem to be detected, except by some researchers. There are certain cytokines that are increased in fibromyalgia and mediate muscle pain. A definition of neuroinflammation was described by researchers in a 2023 study. Quote, neuroinflammation is a form of localized inflammation occurring in the peripheral nervous system and central nervous system, and it's characterized by vascular changes with increased permeability, glial cell activation, the infiltration and activation of leukocytes, and the increased production of inflammatory mediators, including cytokines and chemokines, unquote. Neuroinflammation is believed to elicit persistent pain. Cytokines, chemokines, and other glia-produced mediators could either induce or maintain central sensitization and drive the development of widespread pain. And in another study, researchers stated that the distinctive profile associated with fibro include both pro-inflammatory, like TNF-A, IL-6, and IL-8, and anti-inflammatory, like IL-10 cytokines, as well as chemokines like eotaxin signatures. And another study, researchers stated that fibro involves microglia-mediated neuroinflammation in the brain. In addition, skin hypersensitivity is induced by nerve growth factor, which is derived from tumor necrosis factor. This elongates nerve fibers and causes skin sensitivity. These researchers propose that IL-37, as a cytokine, contributes to improving the pathogenesis of fibro by blocking pro-inflammatory IL-1 family members, which are generated and released by mast cells. That means that inflammatory cytokines and mast cells play a role in fibromyalgia, and that inflammation may be inhibited by IL-37. That would explain why inflammation is not detected by traditional means. IL-37 is a recently discovered cytokine in the IL-1 family, like IL-6 and IL-8. That would explain why there are significant differences in unique cytokine levels between fibro patients and healthy controls, like pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cytokines within studies, and yet they don't show up on known blood tests, do they? There's so much to say about inflammation, but I hope you get the gist of it. There's still more to learn, but researchers are working hard at it. In a 2022 study, researchers stated that autoimmunity and neuroinflammatory mechanisms have been suggested to play important roles in the pathophysiology of fibromyalgia. Recent interferon signatures, those are proteins that are part of the immune system that fight viruses or other foreign substances, have been identified in individuals with fibromyalgia. In this 2022 study, 19 inflammatory serum proteins such as IL-8, SIRT2, and others were elevated. In addition, 25 interferon-regulated genes were found, such as S100A8, and an increased interferon score. These results show that fibromyalgia is associated with an interferon signature in B cells, also called B lymphocytes. They're a white blood cell that produces antibodies to fight infection and increase levels of a set of inflammatory serum proteins like that IL-8. IL-8 comes up a lot as a potential inflammatory marker in fibromyalgia. The IL in IL-8 stands for interleukin, which is a cytokine. And that's important for activating immune cells and plays a role in inflammation. Also, researchers have searched for linked biomarkers with mixed results, though the literature is beginning to point to increased systemic levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines like that IL-6 and IL-8 in patients with fibromyalgia relative to healthy controls. And there's also microglial activation. Sickness behavior is found in fibromyalgia patients and is suggestive or characteristic of chronic system inflammatory conditions such as rheumatic disease, and further emphasizes the hypothesis that fibromyalgia is connected to neuroinflammation. So sickness behavior is not, the words themselves are not what I thought they would mean. So basically, sickness behavior in fibromyalgia is experienced as weakness, malaise, listlessness, which means no energy or enthusiasm, and an inability to concentrate. Just think of a wounded animal. How do they act? They certainly aren't bouncing around happily. They become weak and lay around. Our sickness behavior is normal for what we have to endure. It's not about our symptoms. It's about our normal response to being sick. And lastly, genetic factors are possibly responsible for up to 50% of the disease susceptibility. There is further evidence that traumatic experiences and chronic stress may result in epigenetic alterations of genes associated with DNA repair and fibro. We'll discuss that in episode 9. So we've got a lot going on, but I hope you did learn something, and I hope this made sense to you. I send you gentle hugs and support. Love you.